everyone, this is OVNII, and I just wanted to show you guys something cool. Um, I was actually yesterday. I was pretty stoked because we finally released Junie Stone and I. We released our track "Flip It," which we've had it forever. Like this track has been out. I mean, in our hands for a couple of months now, and something always happened, and they just kind of got shit just kind of got crazy, and we never really got to release it with anyone. So we said, "Fuck it, let's just release it on our own." And I'm gonna show you guys how to do the main lead. Like this song consists of two main leads, like two patches that I made, and then one patch. Well, it's not even. I don't even know if he made it himself. I don't know. Junie Stone gave me this cool lead called Carnival Lead. It's right here. And then there's like a lot of other sounds that I have just kind of like laying around. I have this wub. Wub. I don't even know what the fuck to call it. I don't like it. It's ugly. It sounds bad. But like, Junie Stone liked it, and I was like, well, I don't know. It's kind of offbeat to me, but it sounds like this. I don't even know. If you guys want to know how to make that piece of shit, I'll show you. But yeah, so I'm gonna play it right now, so you guys can tell me. So you guys can tell what we're gonna do. There's two main leads: the Trap Rain, which is a lead I made in analog, and the Owl Vibro, which is one that I made in operator. So you know those are AM and FM synths, so they're kind of different. You know how they work. Actually, they're super different in how they work. But I'm just gonna focus on the Trap Rain for today because that's like simpler one. And you can do this on any synth that has more than one oscillator, because you really only need two oscillators. So whatever. It's pretty simple, but it goes a long way, which is why I like doing things with smaller, like simpler synths like the ones in Ableton, because like you can just kind of build upon it and make really cool stuff. So anyway, this is a track from the build up. See, that second half is actually the second drop, but like this isn't the final project. Okay, this is the project that I began the track on, and then we kind of bounced it and kept working on it on another project. But you get the gist of it. This second half has the Owl Vibro that you can hear right now. Yeah, so Junie sent me a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, if you guys want to run down of that, of the project, I'll show you guys some other day. The owl vibration sounds, yeah, it's pretty fucking rad. I'm going to show you at least the original patch, how it sounded, before I started resampling and cutting up stuff. I just put a bunch of notes and saw what happened between them, how they glided. And it just sounded like this. It's really crazy. It's one of my favorite patches I've ever made, and yeah, if you guys want to know how to make that, let me know. Fucking, you know, I want 30 likes, and then I'll do it. There's similar sounds, but the Owl Vibro, since it's FM, it's modulating way differently, and that's how you get some really strange stuff going on. But yeah, so we're only going to focus on this first part. It's right here. If you can tell, there's four channels here. There's the main one, this one right here, that's really the same one, just in a lower pitch. So, because you know, when you have like a lot of pitch bending in Ableton in one same channel, it kind of gets all wonky. At least for me, I don't know if that's, you know, a thing that everybody experiences. So yeah, it's, you know, I got this one that's in a higher pitch, this one's in a lower pitch. And then this is a side chain that I made just for this part right here. before the drop because I wanted it to kind of like right before it hits to kind of like pump down a tiny bit. I don't fucking know. It was just cool to me at the moment. And we're gonna be working right here. So at its core, analog. It's a very cool synth. These are all the effects we're gonna be using, which really make the sound. The original sound is really simple, really not that amazing. It's pretty cool. Analog's a really cool synth. It's just I'm not gonna go in depth on it, but you know, you got your oscillator tab, and both of them have their own filter and an amp, so you can do enveloping and cool shit. Here you have like the global tab, all this stuff, the routing, vibrato, how much you want the pitch bend, all this stuff, all the neat stuff. Vibrato, unison, glide, and all this stuff, all this neat stuff. So yeah, so we're gonna start with this. It's already where we kind of want it to be. When you open it up, it just sounds like this. That's not this shit. That's terrible. It's fucking disgusting. So I lowered it 1 octave. This is a sawtooth, and for like the lead that I wanted to make, I wanted to be kind of detuned slightly. Both of the very slightly, like 0.03. Like it's not even going a full step. Because I wanted them to kind of be detuned between each other. So yeah. So then we got that. This filter, I didn't really change a lot of it. I just wanted to roll off the top end because there's just too much stuff going on later on. The resonance around 29%. And there you go, it's all good. I also made the drive asymmetric one. I'm not completely sure why I did that. But I guess it helped. The amp, this is very important actually. You see these notes right here? Well, in the original, you can tell that at the end, like the release of it kind of pitches up in a weird way. And I remember that Morsaw was asking me about this, and he was like, "Yo, what sound is this?" And it's actually the exact same sound. It's just, you know, it kind of modulates in a weird way. So yeah, it sounds like this. You know, but like I'm actually not pitch bending anything. It's actually just the release, because it's in 17. It's very like fast, but like I put it up to 150, and yeah, it just sounds. This. I know it sounds bad right now. Give it time. Decay, I lowered it, so the notes are shorter, and there you go. That's done. You're done. You're done with the sound. Great. Oh man, in a perfect world. Alright, so we got all this going on. I turn on the LFO and I put it to 1.5 T, which I'm not 100% sure how that works. Retrig, I turn it on. I put the rectangle wave, and that just makes like gives it like an LFO just at the beginning of the note. It's not that noticeable, but it helps at the end of the sound to kind of make it glue together. It's pretty cool. It's not a lot of stuff going on. Then we're gonna turn on this noise oscillator that's right here in the middle, and we're gonna ignore it completely. I mean, you can ignore it completely if you want. I don't know. I like having a little bit of noise in my sounds. Not this much. It just sounds terrible. But like in really low frequencies, it kind of pushes it up a tiny bit. It's unnoticeable, but like with distortion and reverb, it just kind of makes it sound more organic somehow. So we got that going. Then we're gonna go to the second oscillator, and we're gonna make this a rectangle wave. Yes, rectangle wave. I had never used a rectangle wave before, but analog has a rectangle wave. And actually here, I do not use the rectangle wave either. Because a rectangle wave is just a really thin square wave, and I wanted a square wave. And if you want this to turn into more or less a square wave, every time that you press on the oscillator, you get all this business, which is like the envelope for the pitch, and all that stuff, and the pulse width. So basically, like if I wanted it to be 100%, Now it's a square wave. So earlier it sounded like this with the square wave, I mean with the rectangle wave, and now it sounds like this. It just sounds more like tangible. Like to me, it just sounds a lot more stable. Um, Really important, at least not in this side, but over here in the first one, in the sawtooth. I'm gonna lower the pitch envelope to around 44%. Yeah, it sounds really weird, I know, but it's because the timing is like that. But if the timing is really fast, around 21%, you don't notice it too much. I'm gonna detune it down to 0.4, 0.04. I already get like this chorusy effect is going on, and because the square wave is not being pitch bended, and it just kind of, they're both kind of clashing a little bit, and that's pretty cool to me. Then we're gonna go over here to this tab because it's the most important tab. I raised the global octave 1. It's completely unnecessary. Like, I didn't have to do this, but like it's whatever. And then the important part, the pitch bending range is only going up 2 semitones and down 2 semitones. Now it's going 12 semitones all the way up and down. So all the pitch bending that I'm doing right here in the clip will be heard how it should be. See how this thing now comes alive? It's pretty cool. And that's just a release. I'm not really doing anything to that. Also, be sure to choose the quick routing, because it was kind of in this, and like since these are off, it's not really doing anything to this oscillator because it's going straight to the filter, then to the amp. But since it's not doing anything, it just goes straight to the master. But like, since I'm sorry, I'm a little sick. Since I kind of want it to be affected by this filter and this amp, I'm just gonna choose this routing. So both these oscillators are going to the filter 1 and then amp 1, and then going out. It's not that important, like, but it sounds a lot better to me. It's no longer like 2 oscillators at once. Now it just sounds like 1 to me. Then right here we're gonna go to the last step, which is turn all these on. The glide, just leave it as it is. It's very, like, this glide makes the sound basically, and these parts especially. It just makes it glide up and down really nicely, and it's pretty fucking cool. That, like, the glide plus the pitch is just perfect. It's just perfect. The vibrato, I believe it's around 36%, and like 7.6 or 7.2. Let me check. Yep, 7.6. Okay. And then it should sound like this. I'm making it like modulate more. Yeah. Then you're detuning it again. 14.7, 14.6. We're halfway there. Lower the volume. It just comes into like 6 dB, negative 6 dB whenever you open up analog. But I lowered it because I knew I was gonna overdrive it and saturate it and do a lot of like amping up. So yeah, so now it should sound like this. Wow, you're doing trap music. But now let's turn on this overdrive, which literally I didn't mess too much with it. I normally don't even touch these 2 parameters because I kind of do it like manually like that. I wanted to amp up all of this with distortion. So it's 61% dynamics, dry width 45%, drive 68%, and then tone 60, and like 650 the bandwidth. That's how big this is, affecting how many of the bands are getting affected. And then I just kind of left it at 1.25, like this notch right here, kilohertz. So it's kind of taking most of the frequencies here. This is a spectrum, and now it sounds like this. Then I modulate some more with some chorusing. If you don't know what a chorus does, it kind of like splits the image in two, and then it kind of like moves them, like it vibrates them at different speeds, each one, so they kind of like clash against each other, and they detune more, they get phasey. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure this is all default, actually, but just in case, 190 milliseconds and like rate 1.01 hertz, and everything I kind of just left it. I love chorusing stuff. Anyway, so then you go into the saturator. You can do this again if you just follow the like the general consensus of everything I'm telling you. Like, oh well, you go to the LFO part and then you go to the global part. Like, if I mean, you can do this on massive easily. If you just do everything I did just in massive. I'm not doing anything particularly fancy. And then you add all these effects to it. So the saturator is like another sort of like a distortion, kinda. You're kind of driving everything, but like low key. And I lowered the output the same amount or so of how much I'm going to drive it up, because it gets really loud. If you can see this bar, the 0 of how it used to be, and then how it goes now. See, it gets drivey and weird. I'm also driving up the chorus, which is pretty cool. I chose the Sinoid fold because, I mean, you come with an analog, it sounds too soft, and the other ones sound way too hard. Everything is the same except for the bass. It's now in 12. It gets a little bit more, like, it affects more the high frequencies than the low frequencies, and it's pretty cool. Then I scooped out the lows right here because it's a lead. Why would I need low and like a lot of low end or whatever? I mean, there's people that use it in dubstep and stuff, but this isn't dubstep. All of this is gonna be kick, snare, and 808. So whatever. It sounds like this. Now for one of the funnest parts. One of the parts I don't even understand that well yet. The grain delay. The reason I started using this, the reason I made the sound in particular, I was like, man, like I want to try that. It was because Avila. I was talking to Avila about Ableton Live. Avila, go check out his music. He's like a really like amazing, super talented producer from Puerto Rico. The guy's blowing up like across like the planet. The guy's insane. You gotta check him out. So like we're talking about Ableton, and he told me that the grain delay in Ableton was one of his favorite parts of it because he hadn't switched yet. He was still using FL, and so I was like, grain delay. Yeah, I totally use that, man. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? But like I never even knew what the fuck it was. I'm sorry for lying, Avila. I wanted to impress you. Anyway, so I started playing around with it, and I realized it's a really interesting delay. Um, and everything is kind of turned off except for like the frequency. So like this is at 2.10 hertz. The feedback is 61%. See, the dry wet is at 84%. I don't want to get. I'm not gonna explain how the grain delay works that much. It's just a delay, but with a lot more control over it. Um, the time, I put it into time mode, and I put it into 40 milliseconds, and then the pitch is one of the most important parts, because like I mean I can move it to the side. It'll make really weird stuff happen. So yeah, I can pitch up and down the delay itself, and it's pretty cool. But like I detuned it slightly, not a lot. Yeah, so that's the gist of it. I'm sorry for taking so long. Okay, then I put another saturator to saturate all the grain and all the shit that I made. Lowered it 8 decibels, raised it up 12.6, and left everything where it was, just to see what would happen if I just kind of saturated it again. It sounds kind of cool. Super crunchy, super cool. Then I put a reverb over that. I recommend that you always low cut when you're using this on leads and stuff. In fact, actually, like low cut it all the time, unless you want to do some weird shit. Because I mean, why the fuck would you want the reverb to affect the low end? The low end is just gonna get muddy and weird and uncomfortable. Everything is kind of the same. I think I played around with it, but I didn't like it, so I kind of left it. I believe this is the same. No, it's not. The decay is even longer than it is when you default it. Um, like all this stuff doesn't really matter that much, but it's there. Like spin, high, you know, chorus, size, all this stuff. I didn't really mess around with it, and I made sure that this curve was like this, you know, 12.12, 5.10, because I wanted to only affect the high frequencies, but not the super high frequencies, because that'd be annoying. And now it sounds like this, which is pretty rad. I'm almost done. Then the last three, we got this OTT, which is a preset that I recommend everyone check out. Like a lot of huge DJs use this preset because it's so good. It makes sure it balances out all the bands. So like it's a multi-band compressor, but like you're compressing everything, every single like band. You know, like low, mid, and high. Those three bands, which you know you can change them here. Like I didn't really mess around with this patch because the preset is fucking perfect all the time. I mean, I always mess around with the amount because when it since it's trying to compress the low end as well, um, you know, it's weird. Like it gets really muddy. But like, you know, when I put it down to 31%, around 40 or whatever, everything sounds a lot nicer to me. I mean, it's a lead. I'm not going to compress the low end too much, but it's pretty perfect. And then I compressed it again. I did something that you shouldn't really do, which is compress it just to make it louder. You know, it's not really recommended. If you want to make something louder, don't mess around with like the dynamics of it. Um, but whatever, I was kind of lazy, so it sounds like this. Then I took an auto filter and I scooped out like a very tiny bit of the high end right here because it was a little bit too much high end over there. It's like too, I don't know, it annoyed me. And that's about it. That's the sound. I mean, these are just the side chains. I put an EQ at the end of it again, just kind of like scooping out the low end again just to make sure, and I made it less bright. With this, I just kind of lowered it. Does this thing have a thing? Nah, it's just being compressed a tiny bit and like make sure that the low end is again scooped out. But yeah, that's it. That's the main sound. I mean, there's a lot of sounds in this. I'll show you in a minute. So yeah, you just made this. Yeah, so that's the gist of the Trap Rain lead in my collab with Junie Stone. Hope you guys liked it. Give me more ideas in the comics or what shit that I should make, and yeah, check out the song. I'm gonna put it in the description for y'all. All right, see ya.